I'm showing a nice tight little slider right there. Late break.
Back in, Cordero. Yeah, you think about that, really over a span of 3 years being injured, 4 surgeries. If you want to get technical about what he endured. Ground ball. Nice stop at short. Out at second. No throw to first. And boy, what a play by Adames to get over there, backhand, and get the ball to Lau. Vasquez scores. The Bogarts will pick up a run, batted in. Cordero out.
And that ball well struck, but a nice job, like you said, by Adames over to Lau, and then just not confident enough to step in and make that throw to try to get Bogarts on the other end.
2 gone with Bogarts aboard for Hunter Renfroe. Open in, a ball, no strikes. Well, there's the breakout for what Brent Honeywell Jr. has endured since the Rays made him the second-round pick in 2014.
Boy, a lot to have dealt with.
Foul the other way, 1-1. And to continue to stay positive through it all.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, you see those types of injuries spread out over a 12, 15-year career. That's one thing. But back to back to back, that has cost this young man 3 seasons of not only development, but potentially pitching at the big league level. And to stay positive, you know, dealing with each setback and able to bounce back, impressive.
This one is headed toward right center. There to close that gap is Margot to retire the side. A run scores. We go to the bottom of the first. Margot's going to lead it off. To you by Baycare, humanity at work. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the first inning. Boston with the run in the top half of the first. All in all, we'll talk a little bit more about that with Brent Honeywell's performance, but you have to think the Rays liked what they saw. Here is the starting lineup for Kevin Cash. Manuel Margot, followed by Randy Arozarena, and then Austin Meadows, Yandy Diaz, Mike Brasso, and Brandon Lau, with Willie Adames hitting 7th in front of Kevin Kiermaier. Brett Sullivan doing the catching, batting 9th.
Well, Eduardo Rodriguez, manager Alex Cora has named him the opening day starter, and he will be making his 4th start of the spring. You see what he did in 2019. Of course, last year, 2020, Dwayne missed that season with about a myocarditis.
shortstop. Arauz bobbles it. Everybody's going to be safe. Red Sox shortstop. Moving to his right, could not come up with that one.
I think the brain was working a little bit too quickly right there, Dwayne. Off the bat, you're thinking double play. First thing that comes to your mind, and all of a sudden you're starting to make a play without securing the baseball. And it bounds away, and that furthers the issues for the Red Sox here in the first inning. An error on top of the walk. Assume it would be an error. And the Rays threaten.
Yeah, even with speed, you've got Margot and Arozarena, but if you're going to turn two, you got to get the first one first.
Everything starts to speed up, and you're right. You know the base runners. They can move, and everything's going to happen quickly if you're going to get it done.
Austin Meadows batting third in the lineup for Kevin Cash. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Rodriguez has shown the ability to throw ground balls. Sharply hit. Look out down near the edge of the dugout. Four home runs for Austin Meadows. He hit 3 early in spring training. Well, you can imagine if the Rays could put Margot and Arozarena at the top of the order with a combination of speed and some pop in their bats. And then you've got Meadows, the way he can swing the bat we saw 2 years ago. I mean, that's a very tough 1, 2, 3 to begin a lineup with.
Hey, Meadows not having the season that he would have hoped to in 2020, and you're going to get a full season of Randy Arozarena. Saw what he did in the postseason, and you're right. What a way to start off a ball game with those 3 guys up at the top, and that's going to force that opposing pitcher to have to come out of the gates sharp, or he's going to find himself in trouble.
And that is a called third strike. Meadows out number 1.
I don't know if you want to quantify that as a slider or a cutter, but it was of the front door variety. And you start that pitch in off the plate and then cut it to the edge, and it just freezes Austin Meadows. A perfect pitch in a tough spot. And you can see right there, Austin Meadows. Yeah, he got me.
Yeah, that's a good point you make, because some pitchers prefer to call it a cutter. Some will go slider, and I think Rodriguez most of the time sells the cutter nomenclature for that pitch. There's a strike to Yandy Diaz.
You know, and it had that kind of movement and that kind of velocity off of his fastball.
That's going to be a base hit the other way. Margot's going to be waved home by Linares. The throw's headed toward third, and Arozarena is out there. Margot scores. Arozarena cut down. Renfroe making the determination that he had a shot at third, and he threw a strike.
Well, Dwayne, he went right back to the cutter there, and that ball not getting in enough on Yandy Diaz, and he's inside outs it the other way. A lot of room to work with over there. There's the base hit. You see Arozarena had to freeze right there to see that ball into the outfield. That's what cost him being able to get to third base. And sometimes just that little hesitation, and you can't blame him. You cannot move unless that ball gets into the outfield, but once it did, he didn't have enough time to get to third.
So the Rays have a run to tie the game. Mike Brasso, the hitter, and he takes the pitch inside. So Margot, who walked, has scored the run. 2 outs. Diaz driving in the run. He's at first. And a 1-0 count to Mike Brasso. Fly ball back into right center field with some carry. Durand on the run, can't get there. They're going to have to play the carom. Linares will send Diaz to the plate on the double by Brasso. The Rays take a 2-1 lead. So Brasso taking Rodriguez the other way into right center.
I'll tell you, the kid can just flat out hit.
Well, they're going to send, I think they're going to send Diaz back to third. And they're going to call that a ground rule double. Let's see the ball hit above the wall there. And the Rays will give up the lead here. It's a tie game now.
The boardwalk,
yeah.
Dwayne, it got the Rays.
Brother.
That's all.
The foul off the check swing. Nothing in two.
We're off to a good start here, Dwayne. Tight strike zone. No lost count of the outs in the first inning.
Yep.
Spring training. You work through the kinks on the field, in the booth.
Spring training for everybody.
That's right.
Ground ball right side. And the toss to first. Who's over there to make the throw? So the Rays settle for one. We're tied through one.
To a Charlotte Sports Park. Well, that was a long-awaited outing for Brent Honeywell, and we were so excited to see him, but I would imagine the man that was most excited was Brent Honeywell himself. Brent, it was great to see you out there. It was the first time since 2017 that you faced a different jersey. How did that feel?
It was good. I had a blast. I was expecting to go 1, 2, 3, honestly, but it doesn't always work out that way, and I executed when I needed to execute, and I made it off the field, so that's good. That's a good thing.
How excited were you coming to the ballpark today, knowing that you were going to be out there facing somebody different for the first time?
You know, I was excited, but then again, it's, you know, I got a job to do, and I'm trying to stay in, you know, trying to stay within myself a little bit and, you know, not get too excited, but getting loose in the weight room, that was probably the most excited I was for the day. it was definitely a good day for sure.
Brent, you had some major injuries, and you had 4 elbow surgeries in a very short span since 2017. How did you keep the faith and stay positive through all of that and keeping the faith that you would someday get back out there?
Well, I mean, I got these guys in the clubhouse with me. I come to the clubhouse every day, you know, trying to get better any way you can. Like, if you can't play, you just got to do what you can to get back on the field. You know, I wouldn't turn it in for anything. It's just part of the journey. Everybody's is different. And, you know, I want to pitch. You know, I want to pitch for a long time. And I want to play with these guys for a long time. And, you know, I'm thankful for these guys in here the most.
Now, you got to tell us the truth. How much were you bugging Kevin Cash to give you a chance to get out there for an inning? Because last time we talked to you, we really weren't sure if you were going to see any game action during the spring. How much were you in his ear?
I think I was lobbying more to Kyle than I was anybody. You know, I think the biggest thing was if there was time. I mean, I know these guys got to get ready for the season. I know I'm, you know, a couple weeks back. I know they got to get their work in and get ready for 162, which is a big deal coming off of you know, a 60-game season. But other than that, I think it was, you know, if they could have, like they did, they would have done it, and they did, and I'm very appreciative for it because that was a big help.
How did you feel about your stuff out there today specifically? You know, we talked to you last time about your fastball and how you felt when you threw in front of the guys at another field. How did you feel about what you had out there?
Oh, I mean, I felt good. You know, like I said earlier, I executed. I felt like I executed when I needed to execute. I got some weak contact, found a hole on me. But other than that, I mean, I think my stuff's right where I need to be right now, and you know, I don't need to be looking for more.
Who helped you most through that process when you were not on the field?
You know, my family. These guys in here. You know, I talked to my brother probably more than I talked to my dad, my mom about it. You know, I just didn't want to worry them. You know, he was telling me, you know, keep going, keep grinding the stone a little bit, and you know, get after it. So, you know, I'll do anything I got to do to pitch.
In your mind, what's the next step for you?
You know, just come to the yard tomorrow and, you know, day by day, continuing day by day, seeing these guys, hoping these guys get out of here all healthy, and, you know, that's it. I mean, I'm ready. I want to contribute this year sometime, but, you know, it is what it is, and whatever happens, happens. You know, it kind of gave me a different perspective on everything, you know, after spending 4 years on the shelf, you know. And, you know, not looking for more, not looking for less. I'm just going to take it day by day.
Words of wisdom from a guy who knows it. Thank you so much, Brent. Appreciate the time. We're happy to see you back out there.
Thank you.
Guys?
Yeah, it's a big story in baseball, big story for all of us watching, but a very big story for Brent Honeywell to be out there and give the Rays an inning, get that under his belt. And that's part of the process of getting back and eventually getting to the big leagues.
I love the early part of the interview where he was excited to be back out there, obviously pumped up, but, you know, told Trish, but I expected to go 1, 2, 3. Doesn't always work out that way, but those expectations, that confidence that he has always had, and now you're getting a chance to see it here up close and personal.
Yeah, and, you know, he easily could have had a 1, 2, 3 inning there. If he gets a call here and, you know, a couple of little different things, it's 1, 2, 3. So I think he has to be very pleased, and I would think the Rays are very exuberant about what they saw from him today.
You know, and he talked a little bit about getting that opportunity this afternoon. It's one thing to be on the backfields pitching against, you know, teammates in sim games. Completely different coming out here. Game starts at 1:05. The other team is wearing a different colored uniform. And getting a chance to go out there and compete once again is going to help him so much, you know, confidence-wise and just the two words that maturity and perspective, and obviously dealing what The two words that come to mind, maturity and perspective. And obviously dealing with what he's had to over the last 3 years will mold and shape that one way or the other. I mean, either you're going to go south or you're going to work your way north, become more mature, have a different perspective. And that sounds exactly the case. And you're right. In a season where both in the, the pitching staff and your position players, depth is going to be key across the game. That is what you're going to need to get through this season. After making the jump from 60 to 162, he could be a huge part of that. Your second half of the season ringer, Dwayne.
I'll tell you. That's absolutely possible based on what we've seen so far. Here's Michael Chavis. Pitcher is Chris Ellis. And Ellis, 28-year-old right-hander out of Mississippi, was originally drafted by the Angels back in 2014. And this one will skip by Sullivan, sending Dahlbeck to third and Arroyo up to second base. So the wild pitch advances both runners now into scoring position. Brandon Lau and the Christian Arroyo exchanging pleasantries from their time together briefly with the Rays. Chavis has had a big home run spring and takes a big cut right there. 2-1.
Well, that seems to be the name of his game. He's got a lot of swing and miss, a lot of strikeouts, but also a lot of power. So he is going to take his hacks. And you see spring training, not only the 5 home runs, Dwayne, but you got to love the average too if you're a Red Sox fan.
And there's a long one. Well, foul and out of here. Truly out of here. Over the berm and beyond.
Thankfully wide of the foul pole. And a breaking ball there that kind of hung in the middle of the zone and pounced a little too early.
Now a strike called. So after that long foul ball, a called third strike. Just getting that zone down and away.
Boy, perfectly placed on that fastball too. Downhill on the edge. No question.
And he got it despite it popping away from Sullivan.
Right? You're right. I thought the pitch was good on its way to the plate, but a lot of times when you see that ball get away from the catcher, the call does not go the pitcher's way.
Jonathan Arauz at the plate. The Red Sox here in the first couple innings reach base initially on a walk.
Boy, they do have a way of coming back and biting you, and here's how it gets done. An off-speed pitch that stayed up and out over the plate, and with that infield pulled in halfway, at least at the second base position, that ball hit hard and sneaks out into right field.
Now the top of the order. Jarren Duran. Pitch is outside.
Those last two changeups, it looked like, just kind of pulling off that pitch, spinning off that pitch that has it staying up in the zone, kind of flattening out, becomes much more hittable.
So with one out, 2 runs in, and a runner at first. Duran fouls it back over the grandstand. Duran, 24 years old, out of Long Beach State. He has speed, and he has some pop in his bat. An eye on the base runner at first, Arauz.
Just laying in wait, too. Duran, he's got the hands, a little bit lower than you see a lot of hitters. And getting ready for that load, getting ready to pounce. A nice combo, speed and power at the top of a lineup. Everybody looking for it. And you can see right there why the power. That swing, it means business with it.
He has been likened, as people look at young players, try to project them, a Grady Sizemore type of player with that combination. Arauz breaks, ground ball, knocked down. Lau's going to have to go back to get it, and he just gets it there in time.
On Duran, and you went Grady Sizemore.
Yep.
Totally see it. I was thinking along the lines of a Brady Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not. 50 home run power,
Yeah.
but power, speed.
Sure.
Yeah,
those.
And the similar stance at the plate.
Comparison. I mean, you could put all three of those guys in the same category.
Yeah.
And now we're projecting Duran. There's a chopper to third into the glove of Diaz. And his throw in time to retire the side. 2 walks, 2 runs. 3-1 Boston. Be part of the Rays celebration of the American League Championship by joining the AL Champions Club, presented by Geico. Members receive an AL Champions replica ring, replica trophy, and access to exclusive experiences. Sign up at RaysBaseball.com/AL Champs. Rays up. Well, won't be long. Julio Adames, Kevin Kiermaier, and Brett Sullivan due to bat in the bottom of the second inning, and always fun to watch Kevin Kiermaier both at the plate and, of course, defensively. But I'll tell you, hitting the ball all over the place is a great idea for him.
Dwayne, you were reading my mind. I mean, we are getting to be close to in mid-season form working together, because I thought the same thing. That ball shot the other way. We know that Kevin Kiermaier, can flash power. But if he can really start to learn to take that pitch down and away and spray it the other way, with his speed, getting him on base, wreaking havoc, that would be a huge plus for this Rays offense.
Yeah, that could be just fun to watch. And, an element to the game that I think sometimes is missing more than it used to be. And I think if he could do that, he would help this club on the front of production and entertainment value.
Yeah, well, yeah, with him running the bases.
Yep.
He is fun to watch run the bases, no doubt about it. And I think, Dwayne, you're right. You know, this game has gotten into the, the launch angle, pull for power, all of the above. But if you can sprinkle a couple of guys in your lineup that can hit the ball the other way, that can move a base runner, or just keep the defense honest, I think it goes a long way towards giving you a well-rounded, versatile, that can score runs multiple ways, which is what you need to do in today's game.
Well, you talk about collecting bases. Of course, you hit a home run, you collect them in a hurry. But utilizing speed, first to third, first to home sometimes. I mean, that's one of the greatest plays in sport, I think. So why not? It's collect them any way you can.
I have often, adhered to the adage of you can slug your way to the playoffs, but you're not going to slug your way through the playoffs. The pitching staffs become that much better, especially the deeper that you go. And so you're going to have to find other ways to score runs rather than just sitting back and trying to launch everything.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely true. That's how you see teams go through a season and pile up unbelievable offensive numbers, get to the playoffs, suddenly everything's quiet.
Yeah, absolutely beat up, mediocre, middle of the rotation, back into the rotation pitchers. Then you face the elite staffs that can exploit the holes in your swing and your weaknesses, and then those big swings and misses, they take center stage, and the production goes south.
Okay, there's a leadoff walk drawn by Willie Adames here against Rodriguez. So the Rays begin the second as they did the first, and that led to a run. And here is Kevin Kiermaier headed to the plate. Well, Kevin, 217 last year, 357 this spring. He takes a strike. Eduardo Rodriguez, 2 years ago, a 19-game winner. That's a base hit through the right side. Adames will turn and hold at second base. To wait for that one and to actually kind of leapfrog that one to let it go through. So a walk and a single, 2 men aboard, nobody out.
Well, the walk, that has been the theme here. The walks have come back to haunt these pitchers, and Rays are trying to do the same thing right here. A pitch that Kevin Kiermaier can handle, drives it into right field. How about this, Dwayne? Coming into this ball game, we talked about how Eduardo Rodriguez was putting together a solid spring training, had not walked a hitter. 14 strikeouts, no walks, and 2 here in the early going.
And leadoff walks at that.
Yeah.
Here's Brett Sullivan. There's a strike. Sullivan has been primarily a catcher, but we've seen him at a couple other positions as well. Not unusual if you're coming up through the Rays system. And a pretty good bat. He's kind of an interesting guy, I think, to keep an eye on down the road. An 0-2 count.
Well, this is where you have to battle. Rodriguez putting himself in position to go for that strikeout, which he will certainly try and do.
Up and away.